Hello everyone. Today we're going to take a look at a Japanese rhythm battery strike. So this is the dial. Already removed it to take a quick look at it while the client was here. So what this basically is kind of like a hybrid movement. So it does have a battery. It does have an electric motor here for the strike or the chime, and then the only question is how, because there's no secondary motor, at least not one that I can see, to make the pendulum run, to make the time system run. So what I think is that, because if I do this, then you see it is striking right now. And what I assume is that that motor also winds a tiny mainspring in order to supply the movement with power. This doesn't run anymore. So yep, I'm going to get it out of the case and then we'll do some further inspection. But I just want to give you kind of an overview of what we're dealing with in the clock. So going to get this out and then I'll see you there for a closer look. So now we've got the movement out and still need to get this plastic up, but I can already see that this is this is basically the mainspring. So it's like I assume the plastic gears are for winding it and the brass ones are part of the main gear train. So yeah, this gives you a bit of a closer look how it's like the movement in its complete, and then going to get the outer shell off and we'll probably be able to figure out what is going on. But at this point I just assume it's going to be simple maintenance, but yeah, we will see. So got the movement loose from the plastic case. So here you have the motor, and then here you can see you basically have a start of a gear reduction, so there's enough force to undo the striking and to wind up the main barrel here. So these three gears are outside of the movement, and then the gear train continues on the inside, so you can see a few more gears. Then you have this brass gear with a steel axle that goes to the heart-shaped discs. So the heart-shaped disc is part of the striking mechanism. This is basically the same type of mechanism you would see in a fully mechanical clock. So you have this, which indicates how many times it needs to strike. You have, where can I see them good? You have this here on the inside that will lift the mechanism, and that will lift on the hour and on the half an hour. Now on the hour it will lift enough so that this with the cams can go all the way down. On the half hour it will just release the mechanism so that it can strike one time. So if this goes all the way down, this activates the motor. In a mechanical clock it would just make the gear train run freely, and then it will turn, and each time it strikes it will lift this one time, that's a strike, and then if it's all the way at the end the mechanism will stop and it will open the circuit. In a mechanical clock to block the gear train, here it opens the circuit, so the motor stops running. But while it is doing that, it's doing the striking, you have a secondary, like the gear continues and it goes into the plastic part of the main barrel. which you can see better on the underside. So there you have your final reduction, and then you have the plastic main barrel, and then yeah, that's the plastic gear basically, and then you have your brass gear, which is part of the gear train of the normal clock. Another interesting thing, and this is something that you see very often in those electromechanical clocks, is that they basically use the main plates as the negative, because you can see down in the case, that's the negative of the battery, and that just goes into this leg, and then it just is part of the clock. So the whole clock is basically negative, and then you have the wire here for the positive. So yeah, that's basically all there is to it. So I'm going to give this a maintenance like I would do any mechanical clock, and yeah, that should be it. Unless there is something else I discover about it or something that's horribly wrong with it, I'm just going to give it a maintenance, and I'll see you after that. So the clock's working, just want to show you that. Amplitude's really good now. So let's build it back into the case, and we'll talk a bit more about it, because I have some thoughts in the meantime about this type of clock. Hello everyone, so here we are with movement back in the case, and there's probably something that some of you might notice, is that the amplitude of the pendulum is even bigger now. And it's something that was in my mind earlier today already, and that is that like there's gotta be some kind of starting procedure for a clock like this if you buy it brand new, or if it runs out of battery. Because if you get it brand new, the mainspring is going to be at 0 power, I assume, unless maybe from the factory it came with some energy stored in it that would be enough to get the process going. Because as you can see, the longer this clock runs now, the bigger the amplitude gets, so the more tension there is on the mainspring, and that is logic. I assume, I didn't check it, but I assume that this is also a slipping spring, so that means that once it gets to a certain amount of power, it starts to slip instead of coming to a dead stop, because that would just stop the motor, like seize the motor. But that means that over time, if you start from 0, right, every time the chime goes, there comes more power on the mainspring. But that also means that if you need to start from 0 after a battery, like if the battery dies, you won't have the chime, and slowly the movement will stop, because the power in the mainspring will slowly deplete. But that also means that there has to be some kind of starting procedure involving probably moving the watch hands, letting it strike a certain amount of time before enough power will be built up. Because, like I said, once the battery is dead, the mainspring will slowly deplete, so you will be starting from an almost 0 position. So yeah, if you had a clock like this, or still have, and you know, when you bought it, was that part of a manual, some kind of procedure that was told to you when you bought the clock? Because I'm kind of interested in it, because this is not something that is super logic, and I can't imagine that every time you would change a battery, you had to take this kind of clock to a watchmaker to put some tension on there. There's nothing mentioned about it in the case, because here downstairs in the case there's just the original seller who sold this. Probably long doesn't exist anymore. And also very interesting, a very short phone number. This was without the zone number in front of it, in the old telephone system here that used to work like that. So for those of you who don't know Dutch, this says watches, jewelers, and optics, so like glasses and stuff like that. So yeah, really interesting little clock. It's kind of like I like the. I wouldn't buy this clock for myself, but I can definitely see the appeal, because you have like pretty much mechanical system, or at least fully mechanical locking system, with the convenience of never having to wind it, which is a pretty cool concept. I wouldn't want it myself, but yeah, I can see the appeal. And it looks pretty nice, as you can see. Pretty fancy black. I don't know. Yeah, that's plastic. That's looks like wood, but yeah. There's also the, get your full picture in a bit. Painting. This is kind of like, yeah, it has the same paintings on the windows, like on the glass of the clock, as the Korean clocks do. But this is definitely a very fine move, because it looked like it was, they put some bushings in there at some point, or it might have been original, but I had basically nowhere, so it was just the maintenance. I don't know if it picks up. Yeah, you can kind of see. It kind of looks like a few bushings from in the past. It did say somewhere. Oh no, that was another clock. No, never mind. So yeah, quality little movement. Yeah, that is maintenance done basically. So before I put the dial back on, let's actually show you this in action. Like, you know, that was half an hour. So now you can see this has fallen down onto the snail-shaped disc, and now it's going to go up and turn the contact back off. Let's do that again. So that's the half an hour. So you can see it has fallen, but not enough. So now if we'll close the contact, and then as soon as this can fall back into place, it stops. So now let's do the arrow once more. Now you can see it's fallen all the way down again, until on this piece, which is kind of like snail shaped, and this decides how deep this can fall, and thus how many hours it's going to strike. So the deeper it can fall, the longer it takes, the more times this hammers can strike. And now if we turn it back, the rest is going to fall. Close the contact. Bang, 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 and it shuts itself off. So now let's put the dial on and finish off this repair. So here we have the written battery style clock in it's completely finished, going back to the client pretty soon. So yeah, thanks for watching everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye bye, see you in the next one.